First, the takeaway is that the private capital markets are valuing student housing companies greater than the public capital markets. This has been going on for a couple of years, and it's a very, very important point. Number two is that ACC is a great company, and Blackstone recognized a good company when they saw one. So congratulations to Bill Bayless and his management team on the valuation they got for ACC. And thirdly, this is sending a loud message that the largest multifamily owning company in the world has made this kind of a sized investment in student housing at this particular time, still in the middle of COVID, in the middle of a war in the East, and they're still making a big bet on student housing. So Blackstone is now following suit, just like Nuveen and Goldman Sachs here domestically, and ADIA, the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, amongst others, including the Government of Singapore Investment Corporation and the Gulf Finance House internationally. Big-time institutions investing in student housing in a big way. This has been a really great year for student housing performance. Occupancy this spring is up almost 5.5% compared to last year, which means it's at about 91.5%. And pre-leasing. Pre-leasing is at 73% in mid-May. That's up 7.5% over last year. So do a little math. 91.5% occupancy and 7.5 points ahead looks very good to be 95% plus occupied all throughout student housing in fall 2022. Yes, the Fed and the war. Well, firstly, student housing is still being resilient with rising interest rates. We really have not seen retrades on transactions. We have not seen a slowdown in the appetite for student housing. And in fact, the spread between multifamily and student housing, in my opinion, is too large. Cap rates in student housing should be lower. So even though some are projecting that multifamily interest rates and multifamily cap rates will go up in coming months or years, we think student housing cap rates will remain level and values will stand because there's an inappropriate spread between the cap rates going on right now. In terms of the war, I think what's going on with the war and what the Fed's doing are going to bring a recession to the world, and that means to the United States as well. And as we all know, student housing performs outstanding during a recession. So not that we're looking forward to a recession by any means, but student housing will, as it always does, perform very well if a recession is on its way. For America's most selective, top-tier universities, the enrollment outlook is outstanding. Students from high school still want to go to those colleges, and they're applying at rates like never before. So those top-tier universities can control their enrollment and set their enrollment because so many students want to go there. That's why we go to those kinds of universities and pick them where we do our investments. So student housing investment sales last year, 2021, had, according to which data source you look at, either the largest year in the history of the industry or the second largest year. And for sure from all sources, it had the largest year of individual sales transactions. Sometimes really lumpy, really large portfolio transactions can make the overall volume, change significantly. This year, it was over $6 billion. This year, meaning 2021, was over $6 billion in individual sales transactions, more than $1 billion more than any prior year. we think the demand is going to stay insatiable for student housing. And in fact, some of the largest developers of student housing, who used to be what are called merchant builders, they'd build it and then sell it, are now building it and holding it. And by doing so, it's reducing the volume that's available. That's going to hold prices strong. That's going to hold cap rates strong because there's more demand than there is supply to buy student housing.